I had a Memorial Day weekend.
All you did was send it. That's fine.
Yeah, of course I sent it.
Sometimes you have to do that.
And I don't dog during the week, but I'm not opposed to dogging during the week.
Yeah.
I just did it.
Right.
And also, I have openly spoken about.
It's a snowball.
Not only a snowball. I've talked with you candidly. We've had a lot going on.
Right.
It's been very stressful with housing stuff and all this timing and everything.
Yeah.
So I cut loose. I cut loose and I had 10 hot dogs in 3 days. Big deal. I had a double digit. Big deal. Big deal. And they all had the works on them.
What?
Of course, I don't. Of course, I have.
Well, what do you put? I'm forgetting. Yeah. So what goes on top?
Well, let's start with the burgers I had first. So, obviously, naturally, cheese.
Yeah. Which kind?
American cheese.
Okay.
It's the best. I learned from that movie, The Menu. Although that movie is a little out there, it's the best cheese for a burger because it doesn't split. It stays gooey. Okay. Lettuce, tomato, mayo, onions, pickles. Might have been some bacon on there.
Okay, so we had 3 bacon dogs.
Okay.
Bacon burgers.
I really hate how laughy you are. I don't think this is not that hysterical.
I just didn't know you could buy hot dogs by the sack.
I knew someone in high school, college age, where their dad was acknowledging the girl's developing sexuality, and
daughter?
yes,
Oh.
and would talk about
His daughter?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're a knockout. Look, you got big tits. Just weird shit like that.
Very weird.
It's and I hate, but also amongst friends, I don't like that too because
Wait, what do you mean?
the people that are just oh, I'm gonna go home and just fucking jerk my cock or overly sharing sexual stuff is just weird. There's a weird middle ground.
I definitely I'm cooler with if it's your friends, someone being oh yeah, I jerked off 2 days ago and blah blah blah. It's still kind of all right, didn't need that, but it's not crazy. But I definitely don't need to hear, especially if you're dating someone. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
About your
yeah.
sexual life or
Yeah.
whatever. And if something comes up where it is a conversation about something sexual, make it general, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't I'm not gonna ask you a specific question about you and your wife.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and it's
A blanket question. Yeah.
about your life. But when people just kind of offer that up, it's bro, okay,
That's why these
I don't
people
wanna
that
hear
are
about this.
they invite thirds, thruples or whatever they're called into their relationship. Crazy. I don't know, but I held up the. Becca made a TikTok, and what's so funny?
I'm picturing way more hot dogs than it probably is.
Becca made a TikTok and held up the Platter of Dogs, and
It was insane.
They come proper dogs, tied, the string tying them. So it's one long thing of dogs.
Oh, what?
Hell yeah.
Sausages?
Yeah, well, sure, but they were dogs.
They were all connected?
They were all connected, baby.
So you had to cut the umbilical cord of all these dogs?
Yes.
Wow.
Hold on. Here's me with the dogs.
Can you send that to me?
It's on my wife's TikTok.
All right.
That's great.
It's
That's all of them?
that's the plated dogs.
That looks like the amount that you. First of all, those are not normal.
Those are big guys.
No, those are massive dogs, dude.
Those are big dogs. Yes, I will confirm they're pretty long. I would say they're at least 9 to 10 inches.
And you had 6 of those?
But of course, when they cook, they shrink a little bit.
You had 60 inches of hot dog?
First of all, I don't like your line of questioning here. Second of all,
You
I
had
don't like how
5 feet of hot dogs.
I don't like how fucking giggly fucking big boy is over here.
5 feet of hot dogs.
I don't like this judgment I'm feeling. I need someone to back me up here.
Let me ask you a parenting question.
Okay.
Your daughter has a boyfriend, right? At what age is it appropriate for them to sleep in the same room?
20.
20.
Maybe 20.
Maybe.
Maybe. And let's see where I am mentally and
Did you have girlfriends sleep over your house?
Not with my parents knowing. Not with my mom knowing.
So never, not once?
Not with my mom knowing, no. Are you kidding me? You know my sister. She was a fucking shark. She used to say that she didn't want girls coming to our parties.
Oh. Yeah, maybe we didn't do that. I don't know.
It's hard to score when someone's playing defense. It's real hard.
Not if you're KD.
Yeah.
I did have that, but my dad was always like, you can't.
Wait, you had a girlfriend sleep at your house,
Yeah.
like, when you were how old?
That's a good question. I wasn't like super young. Like I was
That
like,
didn't answer my question.
no, like I was probably I was 20.
Yeah. That's why I said 20. I
20
think,
or 19.
but like, I also know, and this is probably.
But I wasn't allowed to sleep with them.
Yeah, no, I know. You're saying like same room, but like.
No, we weren't in the same room. Like,
You just said in the same room.
well, I'm asking you when you think it's appropriate.
29. Now it's going up.
I think like 50-year-old women love sailors.
There's that thing. There's like that old adage that like women love a man in uniform or something like that.
I think that's still true.
I think it's just women like a man that has like, like not a fucking dumbass. Like the uniform adds a sense of structure, like perceives.
So ironic that that's how he tried to explain that, like a dumbass. like not a fucking like this.
No, what I mean, like, I think it's because like there's a sense of structure that comes along with the uniform, like discipline.
Speak for the women brain.
Well, if they're not going to speak for themselves, who will? Me.
They're not able to articulate because of their small women brain. Let me do it. It's because of the structure of.
Send in the sailors. Send them on in. No, I think that was like a.
Would you be on a ship?
Hell no.
Like an aircraft carrier?
Double hell no.
Really? I would
A
want to be
flat
on a
one
big
that
ship.
can tip over.
Frank, ships don't tip over.
They do. They often tip over.
Frank, it's not 18125. Okay.
That yours hasn't happened yet.
That's in the future. I'm so glad I kept this.
Certain things, like honestly, like certain like stuff from college, like workbooks.
Wait, like that you would take to class?
Yeah, I kept my old notes.
What are you gonna do with them?
I want to reteach myself math. What's funny?
No.
Why is any of that?
Can you imagine I said that?
Why is
you imagine?
Why is any of this funny?
You're gonna read your own notes and teach yourself math.
Yeah. I was calculus into like differential equations.
Right.
I was exceptional, and I actually found the letter. One of the things I kept from the head of the math department that was just like, "Hey, we want you to be a math major."
This was your Goodwill Hunting moment.
Yeah, and I went to them. I've told you this story. I went to them and I was like, "Oh my god, like that's," and they're like, "We don't have a lot of math majors here." And I was like, "All right, cool.
Yeah, like, can you hook me up?
Give me some
Scholarship.
money." And they said, "We're a very small department. We don't have like scholarship money to give out." So I said, "I'm not going to do it." I held up the math department at my college.
You tried to extort the math
I
department.
tried, but it didn't work.
Tunas, they can be, I'll say 30 feet.
30 feet, brother. That's great. Where are you going?
30
Bro,
feet.
great. There are not even whales that size.
10, no,
I mean, blue whales, I think.
10 feet.
I would say
And
8 feet, 350 pounds.
I'll say 210 pounds, 10 feet.
It's saying Atlantic tunas could get up to 13 feet long and weigh up to 2,000 pounds.
2,000?
That's a ton.
So I'm trying to pull a fucking Volvo out of the ocean?
A Volvo, by the way, that is driving like 40 miles per hour. How fast do these bastards get? Because I imagine with that little fin, that's a big fin back there.
Dude, if he's a 2,000 fucking pounds.
It's probably like getting hit by a speeding.
What do you do? Let me ask you a question, fisherman. When you get it on the boat, what happens then?
I think they hang it up and they're just like, wow.
Hang it up?
We did it.
Like a sail? And you're gonna use it to...
I think, mistake me if I'm wrong here. What?
Okay, you are wrong. That was wrong. That is wrong. Mistake you if you are wrong.